Today I'm going to explain to you exactly why you should stop doing OFM IA in 2025 and focus solely on classic OFM before it's too late. Then we'll go to my computer so I can show you exactly the results I have right now in May 2025 in my OnlyFans agency. And finally, I'll answer absolutely all the questions you asked me on Instagram following my FAQ story. Alright, let's get started. Now we're going to start directly with the private platform. When you do OFM IA, it will be impossible to use OnlyFans or MYM. Why? Because in fact, these platforms ban AI and therefore OFM IA. And so for that, you'll have to turn to other platforms like Unkov or Fanvu, except that, well, these platforms actually convert much, much less compared to OnlyFans or even YM. That is to say, on OnlyFans, to make the most money, let's say to make around, I'd say, 10K per month, you need to bring in about, well, 50 to 60 subs per day, roughly. And so that's still a certain threshold. If you want to reach a certain level of revenue, it's really a traffic milestone you need to hit. And the thing is, actually, in OFM IA, let's say for 50 to 60 OnlyFans subs, I think that's roughly equivalent to about 6 to 8 or maybe 10 at most subs on a private platform that allows AI like Onkov or FunView, for example. What I mean by that is that these platforms convert much less, and so what's the consequence? It means you're really going to have to work a lot and even do a lot of improvising, because at the same time, in OFM IA, you can't ask a model to make specific content for you. You have to go find it yourself or create it yourself. So there will already be a lot of improvising, and then in the end, you'll really lose out in terms of conversion. So basically, for a lot of work, you'll end up getting very, very few subs. And as you can imagine, with very, very few subs, you're not going to make much money. Secondly, when it comes to content, you have two options. There are those who steal content in Euphemia, and there are those who create it. The first option isn't legal, it's not above board. So if a model catches you, or if someone realizes that it's actually a copy of another model, well, you'll simply get reported and your account will be taken down. So you'll have to start over from scratch every time. On the other hand, if you really want to create fully AI-generated content, well, I'm telling you, even though AI is really well developed today, it's obvious that it's AI. The people see it, they notice it, they especially sense it, they're starting to get used to it, and so as a result, it's going to convert much, much less, even if you won't get blocked for it. And even if you generate 100% AI content, in that case, you could also be reported by people and end up losing your accounts. On the other hand, in classic OFM, when you have a model, there's absolutely no way anyone can report you, even if you have multiple accounts, because it's simply the same model, and above all, you have the model's consent. So for example, the model can't report you, and therefore you can't be flagged. So already you won't get banned for that reason. Now you still need to be careful, okay, not to post the same content on multiple accounts when you have a model, because Instagram might end up thinking that it's a fake account and could then request a verification video. But in any case, if the model completes the verification video, then you'll get the account back. And on top of that, with a regular model, you can use OnlyFans or even MYM. I really recommend OnlyFans to you, and here's why. Because the conversion rate is truly at its highest, at its maximum. It's really the most well-known platform, the one that converts the best, where you'll get, let's say, the best return, the most subs, and so, of course, potentially make the most money possible. On top of that, when it comes to content, you won't have control over it. You won't be able to create exactly the content you want with OFM IA, even if it's fully AI generated. And because of that, it will have much, much less impact, much less appeal for the clients who end up on your Instagram account. Unlike with a traditional model, you can simply ask her to create any type of content. Of course, if she's comfortable with that content, then you can really do whatever you want. For example, make videos where the model talks, laughs, and so on, truly interacting with her audience. As a result, the audience will really connect with her personality. So not only when doing OFM IA are we on private platforms that convert less, but on top of that, the content we create isn't really the best either, so we end up converting even less. That's why OFM Classic is really the best, because you can be on OnlyFans and above all, create content that truly engages the audience. And that's also how you'll find spenders, people who will really get attached to the model's persona, and so on. And actually in the long run, they'll end up going to OnlyFans, whether it's early on or a bit later, depending on how long they've been following a model. I mean, it's this kind of person who will end up spending the most because they're really attached to the model, and sometimes they've even been watching her on Instagram for months and months. And actually, all this trust, all this confidence is what will make them end up spending a lot of money. After that, when it comes to delegating chatting, it's really super complicated. But even before you want to delegate chatting, if you want to do chatting yourself because you have your first subs in FMIA, you're going to spend a lot of hours talking to very, very few subs, so it's not necessarily very profitable. Because on top of that, once you want to delegate chatting to a chatter, For a chatter to actually find it worthwhile, for there to be money to make and for them not to get bored, you need a minimum amount of traffic. And very often, this minimum is around, let's say, 20 subs per day. But on a platform that allows OFMUSA IA, reaching 20 subs per day, to me, feels like the end of the world. All this to say that it's extremely, extremely complicated, and in reality, you'll almost never have enough traffic to be able to delegate to a chatter and actually make enough money. Whereas on OnlyFans, it's not difficult at all to get 20, 40, 60, sometimes even 80 or 100 subs per day. Beyond that, you won't even have inflow, which is the essential CRM for using OnlyFans, or OFMUSA, the essential CRM for using MYM. And actually, what's really convenient with Inflow is that not only do you have a ton of features, so many possibilities and functionalities, but above all, you'll be able to create access for your chatters with truly professional accounts, with a complete dashboard and so on, really perfect and well organized so that the chatters can make as much money as possible. But on the platforms that allow AI, not only is there still no CRM like Inflow, but on top of that, you'll have to give your account credentials to these chatters, and what's more, it's really not optimized. They might not even be able to send voice messages. So once again, that's yet another reason to obviously encourage you to get started with classic OFM, which in my opinion is the business with the most potential and is truly destined to evolve and in the right direction. On top of that, when it comes to content, so private content on the platform, for AI, very often you'll either have to steal content from the internet, and again, that's not what I recommend because it's not proper, it's not legal, or otherwise you'll have to generate content, but generating private content is really the least realistic option, and unfortunately, well, clients notice it. So actually, you'll never really be able to get a client to spend a lot of money. If you do manage to make a little bit of money from a client, it'll be pure luck because maybe they'll buy one or two really cheap pieces of content and then they won't go any further at all with the script, especially since generally you'll struggle to have several scripts, let alone really comprehensive ones. Whereas with a model, it's much better because you can really have control over the number of scripts you want and above all, how you want to make them. On top of that, where we make a lot of money in OFM is with custom videos, that is personalized videos that the model will make for a specific client, or even with live cams. Well, this kind of content, you won't be able to do it with OFM AI. Another reason that comes to mind is that on OnlyFans, since AI models are absolutely banned, there are only real models. So clients will never question whether you are real or not. At least they won't wonder if you're an AI or not. Unlike private platforms that allow AI, where, well, all the AI models, everyone doing AI OFM over there, it's almost the norm and it's almost the opposite, you know? Clients are used to seeing only AI models, so they'll really doubt whether you're a real model or not. And as a result, if the client has doubts and doesn't feel confident, they won't be willing to spend as much money. The only real advantage of AI OFM, which, as you'll see, isn't really an advantage, is that, sure, you get 100% of all the revenue, but actually in AI OFM, reaching 2,000 to 3,000 euros in a single month is, for me, practically the end of the world. I'll say it clearly, I have over 2 years of experience with traditional OFM, and I've even dabbled a bit in this kind of business. Honestly, with AI OFM, I stopped pretty quickly because I realized it was really a lot of work for, in the end, not much to show for it. As I was saying, sure, you get 100%, but even making 2,000 to 3,000 in a single month, actually putting that in your pocket is really extremely difficult because let's not forget, the content is just cobbled together. The private platform doesn't convert, and the content converts even less. Whereas with traditional OFM, it's really not hard to make over $20,000 a month. So yes, the model takes her share. Yes, I have partners, and we also have a team to pay. But in the end, we have much, much higher margins, even though there are more of us, because together we can make a lot more money. Personally, I'd rather take 50% of 10K than 100% of 1 or 2K per month. So I thought it was really important to give a little reminder because I get a lot of messages and even comments on YouTube from people talking to me about euphemia. But honestly, today, in 2025, we really need to stop with that and truly move towards businesses that are sustainable, that genuinely have a future and real potential, because it's all well and good to make money for a month or two, but I think if you're here like me, it's because you really want to change your life and launch a business for the long term, not just the short term, so you can ensure a certain level of security for yourself in the long run. And so for that, what better way than to prove it to you a little and to show you all the results we have right now in May within my OnlyFans agency, so directly on Inflow. Let's meet up on my computer. All right, here we go. Let's launch Inflow right away. Okay, so I'm going to launch it right in front of you. You'll see these are really the results we have so far. So here we are. It's May 10th, so we're about a third of the way through the month. So already for the week, we're at about $6,400. So that's a pretty good week, right? We're almost at 1K a day, so $1,000 per day. So today we're at $299, keeping in mind that it's only $9.49 right now. So I think we'll end the day more or less at 1K. And yesterday, just to show you a bit, we made a little over $1,000, actually a bit more than $1,100, 1,115 to be exact. And so for the month, again, it's the 10th, I'll repeat it once more, we're at $9,765. Just take a look at the power of this business, okay? We're only a third of the way through the month, and we've already made almost 10K, so we're really on track to hit around 30K this month, as long as things don't pick up even more, but that's just if we keep up this pace. Obviously, our goal is to go much further, even aiming for 50K within 3 months, right? 50K in revenue per month. Honestly, it's really possible with the models because we really have control over the content. We know how to create good content. We know how to really print money because we're on OnlyFans. It really converts well. And this is truly the best setup to make the most money today in OFM. By the way, for everyone who would like to achieve exactly this kind of result within my program, what is the goal? It's to reach 300 euros in revenue per day with your OnlyFans agency within 90 days. And for that, you can find my OFM Pro Strategy program directly, which will be in the first link in the description. Now, I'm going to answer absolutely all the questions you asked me on Instagram following my story, where I asked you to send me any questions you had, whether it's about OFM, recruitment, traffic, chatting, basically everything that involves OFM. Okay, so first question from Malcolm, who asked me, how did you find your business partners, or how did you meet each other? So actually, the thing is today I'm partnered with Ryan and Awen, who were originally students. So there you go, they joined me. So they actually joined my coaching program a little less than a year ago. And well, we really started to get along very well. I saw that they were really hard workers. And of course, I know that I am too. I told myself that we could really do great things together because I realized that when you're alone in the OFM, well, even for me, it's actually complicated. Why? Because in fact, there are a huge number of things to manage. That's why actually being 2 or even 3 people, sure, we have a little less margin, but in reality, we can do a lot more. We really truly make progress faster, and above all, we go much further. And that's why I decided to partner up with them. And today it's been about 6 months since we've been working together as partners. Every month we make progress. Honestly, things are going really well, so I'm truly happy. Again, this shows the power of networking. How did I meet them? Simply because actually they were my students. And that's why sometimes it's really important to invest in yourself, not only to be close to and trained by someone with expertise, in this case OFM, but also because it creates opportunities, like with Ryan and Awen, where we actually became partners within our OnlyFans agency. We don't have 2 separate agencies, we really have one agency together, and the amazing thing is that on top of that, they joined me in Bangkok, so it's been about 6 months now. They came, then they left, and now they've come back to live here in Bangkok with me, and it's even better for really taking the business to the next level. We can truly move forward together, be really focused in a place that's perfect for it, where the lifestyle is just amazing. Now, we have a little question from Clement, who asked me, Substyle is good for KYC, but when it comes to selling PPVs, don't you run into any problems? So for those who don't understand, Substyle is actually an AI chat tool. It's a software. Here he's asking me, actually he's saying that it's good for KYC, meaning for building relationships, really. KYC stands for know your customer. So it means getting to know your client. So it's really about the relationship phase. And then he asked me if it's good for selling PPVs, meaning private media. So with Substyle, you should know that I use it with one of my models that we launched about, well, not even a week ago. We're already at $1,500, and that's with about 200 subs. So honestly, it's really good. And yes, I use it not only for KYC, so for building relationships, but actually for everything, even for selling PPVs, even though I haven't set up chatting with it. And so it's true that now, on top of that, they've released an update where you can actually do hybrid chatting, meaning you can combine human chatters with the AI chatting and really integrate everything into the same software. That's actually pretty good. I haven't tried it yet, but I'll make a video about it for you in a few weeks where I'll show you the entire update that happened because it's really great. And what I really like about Substyle, that is Antoine and Jules, the 2 who created Substyle, is that they truly listen to their customers. And on top of that, they work incredibly hard to keep improving the software. So for anyone who's interested, don't hesitate. I'll put the video in the annotation just above. I've made a full video, a complete tutorial that presents this tool, this software, from A to Z. For anyone dealing with incompetent, unreliable, or even absent chatters, honestly, don't hesitate. It could really change your life. Now we have a question, or rather a comment from Antoine, who says, stay within the law. So here we have a topic that's sometimes a little bit tricky for some people. Honestly, it's not complicated. When you're starting out and you're in France, I recommend setting up a micro-enterprise. It's a status that's really easy to set up. And then, of course, you'll need to send a contract to the model. And obviously, after that, every month or even twice a month, send her an invoice so that she can then make the payment to us. Honestly, there are just these 3 things to do. It's not any more complicated than that, and on top of that, it costs almost nothing. And by following these steps, you'll actually be operating legally in OFM. Okay, so new response from Jayan. So first, apologies if I mispronounced your name a bit, who asks declaration, invoice, chatter on inflow, US or French market. Regarding the declaration and invoices, I actually just talked about that a moment ago. And then the US or French market, a lot of people also wonder which market they should launch in. If you're French, what I recommend today is that you actually have 2 options. If you really want to get quick results without overcomplicating things, and since you're French and you know the French culture, then obviously target the French market. Now, if you really have very good English, if you're truly determined, you have a lot of ambition, and you want to achieve results that will never be limited by territory. In that case, go straight for the US market, because it's truly a market with a lot of competing agencies, but also many more business models, many more clients, especially clients who are willing to spend much, much more. So in the end, you can really achieve results that are on a whole different scale, whereas in France, it would be much more difficult to get similar results. Now we also have a question from Adrian who asks, Substyle update? So, as I mentioned a bit earlier, they've made a major update where we'll be able to integrate our chat agents directly into the software so they can chat right within it. As I said, I'll make a full video for you in the coming weeks that will really introduce you to this entire tool. So there you go. Don't hesitate to subscribe so you don't miss it. Okay, now we have a quick question from RL Tarp. He asks, chatting agencies to fully delegate a model's account for chatting, is it a good idea? Basically what he means is it a good idea to hire an agency to completely delegate the chatting? So I absolutely advise against it, and here's why. Most agencies not only require a lot of traffic, but on top of that, the LTV, that is the lifetime value or the average basket per client, is never really that high. And also, very, very often, the chatters aren't really supervised, the results aren't really great, and beyond that, they take a cut, so a commission of 25%. Of course, that's normal. There are chatters to pay, managers to pay, and obviously the CEO, the guy who created the agency, who obviously wants to make a profit. But for me, I would never in my life use an agency, because on top of that, it's really just wanting to delegate chatting without the hassle, but giving away a huge share in the end, and very often they don't make that much money. So for me, it's really something I don't recommend. Obviously, I recommend first chatting yourself at the beginning to master chatting, and then either you create your own team with chatters, chat managers, or else you simply use Substyle, right? Once again, I've included a video, I had put it as an annotation a little earlier, that presents this whole software, and so for me, what did I do? Well, in the agency, we have both. We have models that are fully run with the chat AI, and we also have models that are fully managed by our teams, meaning with chatters and chat managers. Okay, now we have a question from TCR who asks, is OFM saturated? So for me, that's really a question you shouldn't even be asking yourself. If you're doubting, it just means you're not confident, and in that case, you don't really have the right mindset to fully dive into the business. Beyond that, I'll just answer this question very quickly. Today, to make 10,000 in revenue in a single month with one model, you need more or less 1,000 subscribers. Sometimes, if you're really good at chatting, it could be 500. If you're a bit less skilled, it could be 1,500 or even 2,000 subscribers. But what you need to understand is that today in France, okay, if we're really just targeting the French market, not even talking about the US, our clients are simply men aged 18 to 65, more or less, and there are about 30 to 35 million such clients in France. So do you really think that all 30 to 35 million men are already on OnlyFans? Well, not at all. We only need 1,000 subscribers to make just 10K per month. And actually, on top of that, being in contact with a lot of agencies, so quite a few agencies that also make money, I realized that there are very, very few agencies that even make just 20 or 30K per month, even in revenue. There are really, really very, very few. And that's why, for me, there's a huge open road ahead. There's still a lot of room. And that's why I feel very confident about the potential and the longevity of this particular business. On the other hand, of course, the barriers to entry are getting tougher. And like with any business, you really have to get better. You really have to try to be the best in order to stand out. And I'm certain that in 5 or 10 years, maybe I won't be doing exactly OFM as I am now. But I know that if I stay in the same industry, I'll just need to find new opportunities and, of course, adapt to keep up with the market and the changes that are coming. Next, I have a question from Tesre who asked me how to get started properly. To get started, what I recommend is simply to educate yourself. And for that, don't listen to everyone, really just follow one person, whether that's me or someone else. But if you want a concrete answer, just watch all the videos I've made about recruiting models. I know that this is the biggest barrier to entry for most people who are starting out, so I've made quite a few videos that should really help you. There are a ton of ways to recruit models, so I'm sure you'll be able to find one that works for you. Okay, so now I have a question from Merkocheva who says, a guide about content production and in the training scenarios, etc. Well, I think what he actually wanted to ask is whether in my training, in my OFM Pro Strategy program, which again will be available in the description, do I provide scenarios, chatting scripts, and do I also explain how to create content? Well, yes, I do. Actually, why is he asking me this? Because he actually joined my training yesterday with his wife, and in fact, they're going to create content together, and they're also going to really take his OnlyFans to the next level together, along with all the management that comes with it. So to answer that, yes, in my training, you'll find absolutely everything, chatting scripts, how to create a script, etc. Really all the necessary steps, how many, all of that, it's super important. And after that, we'll also look at how to improve each, for example, Instagram Reel, etc. We'll really take an analytical approach to ultimately get the best results, because it's not enough to just post videos on Instagram to get views and then make money on OnlyFans. You really need to try to have the best possible content on social media and then also on the OF account to make as much money as possible. Next, we have a question from Lisa who asked me about the legal documents you need to have your model sign. Regarding that, we have the contract. You simply need a contract, of course, one that is solid, a real contract. By the way, for anyone who would like to get a legal and certified contract, for example, the one I personally use in my OnlyFans agency, under this video, you'll find a resource link with the contract so you can download it. I'll make it available to you. All you have to do is copy and paste it into, say, a Google Doc, and then simply adapt it with your own information before sending it to your model. Of course, remember to register yourself, because for a contract to be valid and not void, that is, for it to actually be legitimate, you obviously need to declare yourself, since this is a real business. Honestly, registering yourself is not complicated. Once again, for this, I recommend the auto-entrepreneur status, in other words, the micro-enterprise in France. And now, we have one last question, a question from veloria.ofm, who asks us where you usually find scripts. So I hope and I assume you're talking about chatting scripts. Well, it's simple, really. Honestly, once you know what a chatting script is, you just have to create them yourself and then adapt them with small variations and so on, to try out new things in chatting. But honestly, it's not complicated. By the way, same thing, if you want, I'll make 2 chatting scripts available to you directly under this video, in the video resources, along with the contract as well. So for those who want to get some value right away, you can come and download all of that for free just by providing your email. I repeat, for anyone who wants to reach 300 euros in revenue per day within 90 days in OFM with your agency, honestly, it's really possible, and that's exactly the goal of my OFM Pro Strategy program, which you can find in the description of this video. If you enjoyed the video, don't hesitate to like it, let me know what you thought in the comments, and most importantly, subscribe. See you, ciao!